Okay, it's a quick update video. I am starting 100 days of code challenge. Today I just finished my day one. Here you can see. Today I didn't learn too much. I just learned Mongoose and Zod validation. And here I just created some models for MongoDB, but it's not too much. Like here you can see it's a message interface which extend the Mongoose document. Of course, we don't want any random types. Using this interface, of course, I'm using this interface for the Mongo schema. I created this one so that I can force MongoDB. My bad, not MongoDB. I can force Mongo to add specific types. Like in here, if I change this type from string to numbers, like just see. Okay, I just change it to numbers. Here, I got an error. Of course, it's a TypeScript feature, but of course, it's very convenient for writing robust code. In MongoDB, in Mongoose part, I didn't do too much. I just created one for message and one for user, where I have these specific types. And of course, user will message each other. That's why I have a message type in here. And this is the message schema. In message schema, I have content and created it. I'll be tracking the time when it's created, and the default time will be right now, just as when we are creating this object. And it, of course, the message is required. If I'm creating a message, there should be at least one characters, of course. In the schema, I'm creating a username. Of course, a username is required and it should be unique. Two usernames should be one. And I'll be using trim. So trim isn't nothing special. Like if I have spaces around, then it's a problem. We don't want spaces in front and after the username. That's why I'm using the trim tool, and it will trim the spaces around. And yeah, we'll be implementing logic for the in front end and back end both part, but it's for the database. And email should be string, and it should be required. Of course, we need email. And if user doesn't enter an email, it will give an error with this message, and there should be a match with this regex. And if it doesn't, then I'll consider it as an invalid email. And I didn't wrote it from scratch. Where did I get it from? I got it from regex. Regex are here. I can find many different type of here in the community pattern. I can find many different type of patterns for email, password, IP address. I use this email validation. I can get those conditions. I can also test it. Yeah, I got this and implement it in here. In database, it will check this regex and then it will let me let me store the emails. Password, nothing much, just simple string. And there's another mistake I also made in future. That's the difference between small string and the capital string. In Mongoose, it is with a capital S. In TypeScript, it's string with small letter s. And all of these are verified. I just want to know if it's verified or not. And by default, it should be false. Of course, by default, no one is verified. And verification code, it's nothing, just verification code to match if I want to verify him, I need to store the verification code. And is verified is And yeah, if he's accepting message or not, yeah, he is by default a user should be able to accept message, and it's just and in the message array we are using message schema, uh, this one, so that we can store users messages. And if you are choosing Next.js, we should be able to do this const user, but there's an issue with Next.js is that it doesn't, by default it doesn't remember if it created a model or not. So that's why we need to check if the model is already existing, if the model is, if model is already exist. If it already exists and it creates again another model, it's a issue. That's why we won't be using this syntax. We'll at first we'll check if model user, this user, does it exist. If it does, we won't create the model, we'll just use the one which we created previously, or else we'll be running this code where we'll be creating the user. And it's all about models, and schema will be in the naming convention we are using dot schema. It doesn't represent logically, but to refer it that it is a schema, we are using dot schema. And see, it's just validation, and it's very simple. In here I'm just checking if it's a string, yeah it is, and I'm chaining functions. Zod supports chaining, and after it is string, and here you can see I'm not using a comma at last, and just using a semicolon. If it's a string, if it is, it will check the second one. If it's minimum is 2, if it is 2, it will just go to the next one. If it's not, it will just pass an error with this message. And then same for this, regex, same. I got this regex from regexr. Then I just created a sign up schema, and it's an object. Previously we just directly check if it's string or not, but in here we have multiple values, so that's why we need to use the object function of Zod. Here we are passing an object with username, and username is this validation. Then we'll be checking email, where email is string, and dot email it was. And the fun part is we don't need to pass regex like we did in here. Like we in database verification we passed a long regex to match it, but Zod, but for, if we are using Zod, we don't need it in front end because Zod have its own validations. That's why email, it will automatically verify if the email is verified, the email is valid or not. Then for password, I'm currently just checking if it's a string minimum and maximum. I am not passing a regex for now because I do need to study a bit which regex should we allow, what things should we allow, what things we shouldn't. That's why we are not. And in sign in, there's nothing much. Just I'm checking the identifier, which is username valid, which I am importing from the sign-up. And I'm checking the password, same if it's a string, minimum value, maximum value. Then message is same. I'm just in message we just have content, and I'm checking how much the characters. We do not care if it's at least one character. We do not care much, and for one character we don't need to add dot min because Zod will automatically Zod will automatically check if it's less than or it should be null or undefined. So we are checking maximum, and we are not allowing message more than 300 characters. And accepting message is simple. We are just checking if the user is accepting or not. Just a simple that's all. We didn't write the verify schema right now, but maybe in next days. Okay, stay tuned. You can check my account for all of the source code, and also I am updating this in every day. And you can also check my X for my literature for more updates and real-time updates. Videos become a bit later, and also I'm posting it on LinkedIn also, but my first preference is X. So that's it for this video. You can reach me out in here. I have added links of my X and LinkedIn. You can reach me out there. Okay, bye, sayonara.